Get ready, everyone, and you just might survive. Ruben and Jason are here with their X-Men deep dive. Going through all the X-books is their mission, so get ready for the learned edition. Things are getting weird in here. Ruben hopes another sword book gets announced this year.
Ruben.
It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind. It's the Weird Dose of X,
Right here
the
on Weird
X-Men
Science.
comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind.
Welcome, all you weirdos, beings composed of living telepathy-blocking paraffin, and everyone still alive at the end of Sinister 6, although I hope we have more listeners than that. It is time to receive your 179th Weird Dose of X, the mutant member of your Weird Science podcast family. I am your certified Terrigen-free host, Jason, broadcasting to you as always from the Wrong Turn studio, perched high atop stately Weird Science Manor. And joining me from a deep dive back into Annihilation continuity, it's my pal Ruben. Hey Ruben, how the heck are you?
I'm very excited to talk about those non-X-Men things.
Yeah.
And I'm very not excited to talk about the X-Men ones, because this was a stinker of a week.
Yeah, not going to sugarcoat it, folks. The books this week were not good. So not good that Ruben and I dredged up some other books to talk about, because we didn't want to head into, the Christmas season on a bummer. That would be no fun. So, yeah, we talk about Annihilation stuff. I still haven't read very much, so you're still the local expert on Annihilation. And we'll get to that when we get to Nova stuff towards the end. Jim's not the hugest fan of Annihilation. That came up in Slack last night.
Yeah,
Bit of
shocking.
Controversy there.
You know what? I'm going to say this. I will bet $20 that he hasn't even read Annihilation, and he's just crapping on things because that's what he does.
He's having a tough time. He's not feeling well, which is unusual. So yeah, he's having a tough time. He got our crappy recording that had all sorts of tech issues published last week. So thank you, Jim, for that. We really appreciate it. Let's knock on. I don't even have wood. I have like particle board I can knock on, hoping that this week it goes better. But here are the books we're going to talk about. And first, these are the X books. And again, we're telling you up front, you shouldn't be buying any of these. Well, hey, buy what you like. Not my money, not my business. I don't think they're very good books. And those
I thought the Infinity comic this week was interesting.
Yeah, we will definitely talk about
That's the one I would buy.
That is, I think, the most interesting of the official X books this week. The one that just came out this morning about Glob's backstory, which everyone loves Glob's backstory. But the actual books this week were Unbreakable X-Men #3, Iron and Frost #3, Sinisters 6 #3, and there was also Long Shots #3, but I haven't even read that one, so maybe that was the most amazing issue ever, but I read the first two and it seemed unlikely. And then after we're done wading through that pile of nonsense, we are going to talk about New Avengers #7, which I think there's a mutant in there somewhere maybe, and also Nova
It's an X-Men
#2.
book because of Laura Kinney, right?
Laura Kinney, yes, absolutely.
She
And
is
I
wearing
guess-
an X belt buckle, so I'm just
Good
going to
enough
pretend the
for
whole
me.
team is an X-Men team.
No, we don't need that.
They can save that for the X-Men show, is what they can do. And then Nova #2, which has the Richard Rider Annihilation continuity stuff. And I'm sure Ruben will explain to me more than I was able to get on my own.
Yeah.
But first, we are going to talk
Spinning out
about
of Imperial, right?
spitting out that barn burner, that monster of an absolute DC-threatening juggernaut that was. Anyway, let's go into the Infinity comic. This is X-Men Age of Revelation Infinity Comic Chapter 7, The Underground Man, Part 1. Now, this will likely be the final arc of the Revelation Infinity Comic, just because of timing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to guess there'll probably be another. I don't know if they go back to the amazing titling when it comes back. They'll come up with a new title. Probably be a new title. They seem to be. What were they calling it? Amazing? I guess it was astonishing. They were calling all the Infinity Comics astonishing for a bit, but I think they're moving away from that brand. It'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
This chapter is written by Alex Packnadel, and this is the first Revelation Infinity comic written by Packnadel, the first three being by Tim Seeley. And the two of them had been going back and forth on the arcs pre-Revelation. The art team is also back to the Packnadell art team. This is art by Eduardo Audino. I have audio written down, but it's Audino. And colors by KJ Diaz, with letters, as always, by Clayton Coles. So, yes, Ruben, this is the backstory of how Glob Herman became a badass, which I was pretty excited to read. It's not at all important. It's not going to change the way the way the Marvel Universe moves going forward, but it's pretty fun. So we join Glob 3 years into the Age of Revelation, a time period we haven't seen much about yet. And at this point, he's still the same good old Glob, still mostly on board with Dougie's project in the Revelation territories, starting to get a little bit restless, a little bit bored with how all the grapes are always exactly the same, for instance. So Glob's friend Radian pulls him aside. Radian is Christian Cord. He and Glob are old friends going back to Morrison's New X-Men in the early 2000s. They were both part of Quentin Quire's Omega Gang. Now, I've said kind of those same sentences recently, Ruben. Does the name Christian Cord ring a bell? Because we have spoken about him.
No.
He was in Iron and Frost #1, because in that he was using his other name, which was Phaser, another code name, still Christian Cord.
Oh,
and
it's the same guy.
Same guy.
Okay.
Same weird haircut. And that, which is in year 6 of Age of Revelation, that scene, he was a Seraph of Revelation. So in year 3, he's being shown as being anti-Revelation. Year 6, he's one of Revelation's most trusted heavies. So either a continuity error, or I think it's more fun just to say that either Christian changes his mind over the course of 3 years, or maybe
his
Doug changes his mind for him.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. Doug had a little conversation with him.
Kind of weird that after not seeing this character since like 2008, 2009-ish, he's all over the place. Well, not all over the place. He's in 2 separate places here in Revelation.
Yeah.
But here, Chris pulls Glob aside and wants to tell Glob about some heinous stuff he's seen Dougie be up to. Radian was spending some time with a group called the Orphans of the Atom, which has to be a name that's been used before. It seems too obvious for it not to be used, but that's what we're going with. Mm-hmm. And they're basically Morlocks, but they're Morlocks of humans who have become bad, unpleasant mutants here in the Age of Revelation because of the X virus.
Yeah. Seems kind of funny to me, because all of this could have been avoided if Doug just told their genes to not give them horrible face blisters. And it seems like he probably could have done that. We've seen him manipulate things before.
He seems to be able to tell reality to do whatever he wants. So
yeah,
he could do lots of stuff.
But then they're saying, he said all mutations are good mutations.
Right. And totally again, we'll talk further in this episode about exactly what Dougie's up to and maybe why he just wants everybody to have the virus and doesn't really care beyond that. Mm-hmm. But here, those Orphans of the Atom kind of went off on their own a little bit. And just had a little conversation among themselves about how this whole Dougie Revelation thing wasn't all that great shakes. But Dougie doesn't like it when people say bad things about him, so he found them, babbled with a lot of them, except for Radian, who was hiding and watching from nearby.
Yep.
So, naturally, that makes Radian pretty anti-Dougie himself. And this is the story that he tells to his friend Glob. And then what happens at the end of this conversation, Ruben?
Yeah, they're interrupted by Quentin, and I'm not sure who these are. These the Omega kids? I mean, they're wearing white uniforms. I guess they're just some random Seraphim.
Unclear to me. I'm going to go with just, I don't know if they even have identities or they're just random, backup heavies.
But yeah, in any event,
he shows
up. If anyone does
recognize them, let us know. I'm curious.
Yeah, he shows up and basically says, "Hey, you're engaging in seditious talk. We need to address the crimes that you've committed. So come on out and have a conversation with us." And Glob, I didn't know he had this ability, but he puts his goo on top of Radian's head, and it acts as like a Cerebro
maybe
helmet.
We don't phrase it quite like that. Yeah, I had to look this up too.
I should say Cerebro helmet, more like a Magneto helmet. Yeah, but basically blocks the psychic powers.
Apparently, Glob is made of wax, bioparaffin, and it kind of drips off of him over the course of the day and gets regenerated, which is much grosser than I've been imagining, just this kind of goofy semi-transparent guy hanging around in the factory in Alaska, but apparently he leaves a trail behind him.
It's like a
And
slug.
in the Age of X-Men continuity, it was shown that his wax blocks telepathy, but it hasn't been shown, as far as I can tell, anywhere else in continuity. So again, we don't even know if we're currently in 616 continuity because of all sorts of reasons. But we've seen that be true in Age of X-Men, and now we see it brought back up in Age of Revelation. So I guess that's a thing. Now, Cord wants his buddy Glob to be able to escape, so he does a big old phaser light flash. Glob kind of falls down a convenient waterfall. They do have a nice bit of artistic fun with stretching out the panel, multiple images of Glob going down the waterfall. And at the bottom of the waterfall, Ruben, who finds our boy Glob?
Oh, like a mutated Punisher.
It is Frank Castle, the Punisher.
Yeah.
Who, he looks kind of like those Orphans of the Atom types. His one hand looks like it might have some super strength to it, but he's basically just gross looking. So the implication is that, this is how Glob goes from being our good old friendly boy Glob to being, what was his nickname? Mad Dog?
Mad
Glob
Dog.
Herman? Yeah. So this is how he's going to become Mad Dog because the Punisher teaches him, which is completely appropriate.
Exactly.
And also
it makes
hilarious.
totally sense. It's very hilarious, and I'm looking forward to the next issue when Glob's trying to cook him some, healthy vegan food, and the Punisher, Frank Castle's not going to be having it.
So that'll be funny.
This is definitely a good pairing and a good explanation for how Glob turned into like this crazy Rambo character.
Yeah, and a good use for this Infinity comic. Why not spend a couple chapters talking about Glob? So yeah, we never know how these things are going to end up, but I'm happy that this is the direction this one's going. I will absolutely be reading it as soon as I wake up next Monday. Okay, moving on to, unfortunately, the real comics. And the first one is Unbreakable X-Men number 3 of 3, titled Like Drowning in the Dark. It is written, of course, by Gail Simone, art by C.F. Villa, colors by Espen Grundetjern, and letters by Clayton Coles. Now, Ruben, are you familiar with the literary term idiot plot? If something has an idiot plot.
I know nothing about that term, but I think it's appropriate to this title.
It's what you call a plot that depends on every character in the story being an idiot, right? Like if you're doing a slasher thing and they could just, the car is right here. Let's just drive home. There's creepy noises when we're camping in this place. Let's just go home. Right. And they don't do that because they're idiots, because the story has to happen. Yeah. And this is an idiot plot because that's what's going on. Shuvarak, who's this cosmic creature thing, is attacking Atlantis. Why is Shuvarak attacking Atlantis? Because she's an idiot. There's no link between Shuvarak and Atlantis. She had a thing where she was trapped guarding this afterlife. She may also be this mutant girl whose kid was hurt by a family member. But Shuvarak, if anything, has a grudge against someone who sealed her in this afterlife, not Atlantis, or possibly people who injured their mutant relatives, also not Atlantis. No reason to attack Atlantis. Okay. Gambit and crew, go ahead.
They didn't want anybody to ask, like, where's Shuvarak in Philadelphia, right? Like, when we get to the final issues, they just want to make sure that this character is nowhere near the
Philadelphia is still
event.
Rebuilding from that alien invasion we saw in the Avengers comic.
Yes, or the the Technarch.
Or the Technarch.
Virus. One of the two things that's, like, wrecking the city, except it'll be perfectly fine when we next see it.
So that's Shuvarak. Now, Gambit and the whole crew of the Uncannies and the Outliers, they go to Atlantis, but instead of just telling Namor, hey, Namor, buddy, some cosmic idiot's about to attack you, just letting you know, maybe you want us to help you with that. Instead of doing that, Gambit fights Namor. Why would Gambit fight Namor instead of just giving him this vital information?
Yeah.
Because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
I know Namor is a proud guy, but this idea of like Atlantis being like hostile to anybody visiting and like immediately throwing down, I'm just like, seriously, we've gotten beyond that. That can't be the status quo at this point in time.
I am curious now, what is up in Atlantis during the Age of Revelation? Like, does the X virus affect? I mean, there are Atlantean mutants. Namor is at least sometimes called the first mutant. We've seen other characters, I forget their names, but there are characters who are Atlanteans who are also mutants.
Yeah.
And does the virus affect the ones who aren't mutants the way it affects regular humans?
Yeah.
That could be interesting, but we don't see anything like that.
I also want to say this. I've come to the conclusion of that this like blind Gambit thing, it makes it stupid.
He never acts blind.
The fact that he's blind has like zero value. It doesn't make anything more meaningful. It's just a way to make him look kind of cool. And then it's just
for the design.
Every time I see him doing things, I'm like, you're a blind guy. Like, how can you be, effectively fighting at range with like playing cards and like countering
apparently
things?
He hasn't been spending all this time, learning how to fight blind. He's been sitting around moping and talking to the statue / giant actual dead wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. That's my main issue here. We do open with a flashback showing the Outliers making that anti-Shuvrak vow back in the day. And I don't think this scene really tells us much that we didn't already know. I guess now we know that Hotaru was the driving force behind the vow. Okay, that's something. Still seems like an odd thing for these teenagers to do. Like Calico definitely agrees under duress. Maybe Jitter's not so into it too, but they kind of have to go along. Felt kind of creepy. And of course, given that this may not even be the 616, this might not have happened with the Outliers we know in Uncanny. I'm going to try to stop saying that all the time, but it keeps popping into my head because that whole bit about Magneto not being sick in this timeline, now I'm just thinking, does anything link back to the 616? We don't know. So
I just like this idea of like, you get this like splash page of Shuvrak, over the city, and Hotaru,
which
like,
looks badass.
Yeah, it looks very badass. It's like they want to be alone forever, but then Shuvrak at the end of this story is pretty easily defeated. So I'm like, I don't really believe that it's the threat level that they seem to claim that this character is.
Well, it's because of who Shuvrak is defeated by, who has to be the bestest, strongest person ever, not named Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
So after the flashback, we do jump to the present, right after Shuvrak has burned down Haven House and then gone off to attack Atlantis. And I think Gail Simone wants us to be very emotionally moved by Haven House burning down. And that didn't work for me. It's just a house, right?
I know. I was like,
we've
just
barely
rebuild it.
seen
Who cares?
Yeah, I can see why it might feel that emotional to Dome, who's been a girl who grew up in that house.
Yeah.
But for the rest of us, just a house.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, you got insurance, right? You'll get a better house. No big deal.
I don't know if insurance works in the Age of Revelation, but we probably don't need an Infinity comic about that.
Yeah. All your buddies are mutants, right? Like, there's got to be a house building mutant somewhere that can whip that right back.
So Jitter is sure that Shuvrak is heading for Atlantis. How does she know that? Well, because she just knows things now, which was set up last issue.
Jitter could use like absolute architecture powers, right?
Yeah,
like,
the best carpenter in the whole wide world. She could do that.
Yeah, she could have made a way better house. So anyways.
For sure. It is boring now that she just knows stuff. Again, like I say, it was set up okay, but she's just a much more boring character now than she was when she had limitations.
Yeah.
Limitations make her interesting. But they just we can't waste time figuring out where Shuvrak went. We need somebody to say she went to Atlantis, so Jitter gets to say it. So how are they going to get to Atlantis and get there ahead of Shuvrak? I actually thought this moment was kind of cool. We've seen that Calico, last issue, is gone kind of extra creepy and had made all those other copies of Ember, her horse. So she creates seahorses for them to ride. It looks neat. Now, exactly, there's some mumbo-jumbo thrown in about pressure auras around them so they can breathe. That was too convenient, but the look of them on the seahorses, I was okay with that. And this is when they run across Namor, who's angry because he's Namor and that's the only characterization he's given these days. This is when Gambit or someone should have spoken up and said, hey, no, Shuvrak's coming. And we don't get to explore any of that stuff because all Gail Simone's interested in here is having Gambit try to sacrifice himself nobly by fighting Namor so the rest of the team can go fight Shuvrak. Also, Dome makes a dome for Gambit and Namor to fight inside of, and domes also come conveniently pre-filled with air. Air is just super convenient in this issue. So the fights happen. And they end in a series of Deus Ex Machinas. Gambit fighting Namor. Gambit takes a trident through his chest that absolutely should have killed him on the spot.
Yeah.
But then Saturong shows up to save the day. That dragon who we've seen in these stories.
Yeah.
Why does Saturang show up? Why does she have a beef with Namor?
Well, we saw some scene where in I think it was the last issue, Gambit appealed to Saturang and said, "Hey, can you please fight Shuvarak?" And I guess its pride was injured because it said, "I don't want to face Shuvarak," and so it was hanging out with them, or I don't know, thinking about him, and then was like, "Hey, I wonder what Gambit's up to now." And then it shows up and it's like, "Oh well, I don't mind fighting Namor," but yeah, it's really dumb. I also think it's super weird that the design of this dragon changes. I know sometimes in these stories, the creatures have the mystical shape-shifting powers, but it hasn't been explained anywhere, right? Why does it look like a giant snake now, whereas before it was a very English-style dragon?
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at what Saturang looked like and whether it was more like here. It's a very worm-like a very long, some kind of fins. Looks very adapted to the water.
I felt like it had wings at some point, but maybe I'm not remembering.
I don't remember, but I believe you.
It's just when I saw it, I was like, I don't know who this is. But
also, after Saturang shows up, we never see Namor again.
Yeah, Namor's dead.
I don't know if Namor's dead or not, but Gambit kind of falls unconscious, but we still get to see what's happening.
Yeah.
The Outliers and the rest of the crew see Shuvarak. I'm never going to say her name twice in a row the same way. She's that cosmic lady attacking Atlantis. And despite their vow, they have no idea how to fight her. Right? Calico tries nagging Shuvarak, and Shuvarak just backhands her an ember into next Tuesday. And this is when Hotaru does the next Deus Ex Machina, and he brings back Rogue. Yeah. Rogue Green, right? That's what we're calling her, the original Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it'll be explained later on that Deathdream, quote, traded his eternal life for her mortal return, which seems like a bad deal if you think about it. Infinite for finite, not a good deal. Mm-hmm. But Rogue is back, still Galactus-sized, no longer made of stone, and Kaiju Rogue immediately kicks Shuvarak's punk ass, just implodes the thing's head, squish just like grape, problem solved. So yeah, the badass who could fight everybody was no match at all for Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
So in the epilogue, we see everybody gets back home, everybody lives happily ever after, except Hotaru, who's not going to be immortal anymore. Now, Ruben, we don't know what order some of these tie-ins are supposed to happen in, but if Unbreakable takes place before Amazing, then that would mean when Hotaru gets his head chopped off by Logan in Amazing #1, he's really dead now. That's my headcanon. Hotaru has died in the Age of Revelation. Prove me wrong, somebody.
Yeah, well, we'll see in the final issue if Hotaru shows up.
I guess we will. We will.
I have a feeling, these events always have a scene where everybody runs in at the same time, right? You got a splash page with all the casts. So I guess I'm interested in that. Are we going to see a Hotaru?
I'll make a note to look for to Deathdream. Mm-hmm. And there was one character who did not appear in this issue that I really expected to appear. That's Galactus. Because in Unbreakable #1, we saw that after years of lying dormant in the Gulf of Mexico where Rogue tossed him, Galactus's eyes lit back up. Do you remember that panel?
Yeah.
Which sure seemed to be foreshadowing Galactus working his way back into the story.
Yeah. And we see in the final scenes where Rogue and Gambit are reunited, she's definitely not Galactus Rogue anymore. So she must have given the power back to him and he left.
I guess he just gave up on wanting Dome to be his new herald because that's what he was after. Dome was fated to be the new herald, fated to be the one who survives into the next iteration of the universe.
Yeah.
But never mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty disappointing final chapter. Classic idiot plot where one little conversation would have saved so much trouble. Dangling plot lines that didn't pay off. Kind of a sappy, found family, everybody lives happily ever after finale.
Yeah. Well,
the art I enjoyed.
Gambit is blind still, and it kind of looks like he's in a wheelchair, so...
Yeah, but he has Rogue back, so he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He has Rogue, and he also has that other lady who was guarding the underworld. She's free now, so she's probably still wearing Rogue's lingerie.
That's what I'm wondering. The black dress certainly looks like Rogue's. She'd be like, what was going on here while I was in a statue form?
It was definitely Rogue's. Gambit told her to go put on Rogue's outfits. But yeah, the art looked cool. I kind of liked how Namor had some gray hair going on, although I don't know he aged that much in 10 years, but looked cool.
The character designs were interesting.
Looked good. I know you're saying the dragon looked different, which I think is a valid point, but Shoverak, these seahorses, I think they all look pretty neat.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say good art, dumb plot, 5 out of 10. And let's hope that Gail Simone has gotten Shoverak out of her system. And when we go back to the main continuity, we never have to revisit her ever again. That's what I'm hoping. Where are you at?
I was really disappointed by this whole side story. And I initially was excited about this idea of like, okay, maybe she's going to go back to this story that I felt like was poorly constructed previously, fill in some blanks, and then suddenly
they definitely changed things up in the middle of that story. They changed their mind about who Shoverak was and who the Endling was. They kind of changed that up for reasons that were never explained. So maybe this was a way to fix that, but yeah, they didn't really fix that, did they?
Yeah, this is bad enough for me that I have canceled my Uncanny X-Men subscription, and I'm just going to be, reading the review copies because I've lost faith in her ability to write these characters in a way that I enjoy. And before I was much higher on this. I mean, she can win me back, right? Like maybe when we get back to Mutina, but that doesn't make me that excited. I'm just sort of like, what is this?
Another character who kind of looks cool, but there's a lot of unexplained things that are just glossed over, which just like Shoverak, Mutina is very much a similar character.
Yeah.
Okay, give a number to this and let's get the hell out of here.
I just didn't like it. I thought it was bad.
Works for me. Okay, moving on to another final issue, because that's all we got this month. This is Iron and Frost, number 3 of 3, written by Cavan Scott, art by Rory Coleman, colors by Yen Nitro, and letters by Joe Sabino. So, Ruben, tell us everything we need to know about Iron and Frost.
Another not so great story. So last issue, we left off with Emma having found Tony and Rhodey and Eris at the Avengers mansion, which is like sunk in some pit in New York, and she kind of had a reunion with them. And then they were attacked by some Seraphim, and War Machine's suit was damaged, and he got exposed to the virus, and he started to mutate. And then his powers started like fritzing out. And then Iron King identifies him as a threat and kills him. And
yeah, let's just reset who all our characters are here, because Emma is stuck in diamond form because some years ago she got her heart destroyed, so she had to turn diamond. And Tony got exposed to the virus, and now he's the Iron King, which somehow the virus mutated him in a way that was really just like his mechanical armor taking over his personality. No one else's personality has been mutated by the virus, but Tony's has.
Yeah, he merged with this suit. Yeah, and then this Eris character, she was a human kid who had been mutated by the virus, but not killed.
Mm-hmm.
And she has these like land control. Powers. Yeah, it's like, I think she goes by Landslide now.
Yeah, like Terra from DC.
Yeah, exactly. And then her mom...
Well, without the freaky sex stuff, but moving on.
We don't know. It's been 10 years. We don't know her backstory. Maybe
she does call Rhodey her daddy, but probably not in the same way.
Let's hope not.
How dare you?
Sorry. Yeah, so her mom had been killed because she also got exposed, but she had the like doesn't turn you into mutant reaction to the virus, just the dead version. So Rhodey had sort of adopted her as his like adopted daughter. So she was quite unhappy when Iron King kills Rhodey.
Oh yeah.
So this issue
Rhodey
starts
is
with
reduced to a skeleton. We have seen several people this week who aren't just killed, but turned into just bare bone skeletons. So pretty thorough job there by the Iron King.
Yeah, no doubt that he's not dead.
Oh, can we still get him to a hospital? It's too late for that.
Yeah. So, anyways, the issue kind of starts out with Eris Landslide attacking Iron King, and she's doing a pretty good job, like smashing him down, under a bunch of earth and rock and things. Mm-hmm. And Emma pulls her back and says, "Hey, we can't kill him. We need him." And then they kind of get into some fisticuffs where Harris is basically saying, we don't need him. You need him because, you need him to figure out a way to let you turn back into a human and get your heart back.
Yeah, which of all the people who could create a new heart for Emma, I don't know that Tony would be the only one. I mean, mechanical hearts do exist, but that's what we're playing with in this story, is that she needs Tony back to give her a heart because we're playing Somewhere Over the Rainbow here. We're playing Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, so during the skirmish between Lancelot and Emma, she kind of gets knocked back into this cage where Iron King has a bunch of mutants that he's been experimenting on, kind of imprisoned, and I guess she breaks the restraints on the cage, so then they break free and they're kind of like running amok, and Iron King then activates something in the War Machine armor to allow it to operate on its own, so it kind of like reanimates and it starts fighting.
Right. He starts trying to kill all these escaped mutants. He turns the War Machine armor into just a robot to start killing more mutants.
Yeah.
And then Emma tries to stop him. And there's a kind of back and forth about who's in charge. And then the armor also pops up a stored personality of the old Tony.
Yeah.
Which comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. So old Tony comes back, starts talking to Emma, and then she's like, what the heck? And then it like forms around Emma and becomes an armored suit.
Which, if anyone needs armor in this situation, it's not the chick made of diamond.
Yeah.
But that's what happens.
Yeah. So then they have this conversation. The AI is talking to her within the suit. I guess maybe it did it just so it could have like a private conversation with her. But anyways, tells her that before Tony had been completely controlled by the Iron King personality, they had been working on a plan to try to stop the gene bomb, and it involved time travel, basically.
Well, I don't know if Tony was even part of that. It was definitely Rhodey was part of it, because these are Rhodey's memories, we're told. He goes back, and we see Rhodey buying a Doom-built chronal splitter, so something about time travel there. And also, they're going to find, they got a psychic amplifier from the X-Mansion, which is the same place that the Amazings went to get their one-shot teleporter. So apparently there's all sorts of goodies hiding in the ruins of the X-Mansion.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so some people of this group had been building this time machine, I guess the plan was to go back was to send a message back to Tony Stark before the gene bomb went off, and to warn him that like everything was going to go to hell if the bomb went off.
Right, which is an interesting enough idea.
In theory, to allow him to like avert the disaster, right? Find the people that were going to blow up the bomb and, intercept or something like that. So they're kind of interrupted about, in learning about this plan with the Iron King, blasting them again, blasting the suit in Emma. And then there's a little conversation about how the unibeam blasts from the suit are super powerful, and what, you don't want to know what it is, but I'll tell you what it is. It's Firestar, imprisoned within the suit. She'd been shrunk down by some PIM particle and was going supernova, and
which was kind of funny. I mean, we got Firestar in here. She's basically the replacement for that. What do you call your main Iron Man power source thing? That generator. Right? She's the replacement for that. She's super powerful. Yeah. She's trapped there. And also, Iron King, for reasons I don't quite follow, decides we got to scrap this whole plan. The only thing we can do to stop Revelation is just to kill the entire virus by basically cauterizing the entire east coast of the U.S.
Yeah.
So he's going to explode and use his firestorm power just to kill everybody who's anywhere in range of the virus.
Yeah, so he initiates like the traditional, mad scientist countdown to like everyone dying.
So we have these two countdowns going on. Are they going to get this message sent to the past first, or is he going to explode and kill everybody first?
Yeah. So then Emma grabs Iron King and flies him up, and I don't really know what that was supposed to accomplish, but she gets him up into the sky, and then she does the like traditional, like, I know you're really in there, Tony, like you can fight against the Iron King persona, like where are you? And it doesn't seem to have any effects. So then she decides she's going to make the hero sacrifice, so she goes back to flesh and bone mode so that she could use her psychic powers, and she reaches out to him, and he is brought back to the surface for a split second, and then says, you got to go back to Diamond Form or you'll be dead. But she's already dead, so she dies. And then the message, I guess, gets sent to the past, and then the Iron King takes back over the Tony suit and personality and like detonates in an
Yes,
explosion.
he does detonate. So Emma buys enough time to send the message to the past, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But doesn't the detonation mean that everyone's dead? Because it's not like they went way, way higher in between. Like, oh, now we've changed the range.
Yeah.
He's at the same place where he said,
Yeah.
oh, if I explode, we'll kill the entire Eastern Seaboard.
Yeah.
And then he explodes, which should kill the entire Eastern Seaboard. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't look like it. It looks like it was a pretty crappy explosion. Like, I guess he just didn't build a very good bomb. Like, it looks big,
it's
but
not
it definitely
at all
doesn't
explained how we escaped that from happening. Because from what we're told on panel, everyone should be dead.
Yeah. So we get like a kind of post-credit scene where it looks like the message had arrived in the past, and we don't know if Tony Stark was going to receive it.
We don't see
react.
any characters back in the pre-Age of Revelation panels, no dialogue. Yeah. We just see it's Tony's lab in Avengers Mansion, and a computer screen says, neural stream incoming, unknown sender, save, yes or no.
Yeah.
Now, I don't imagine that's how we're going to finish the Age of Revelation, by an Avenger in a side book having done it, right? That doesn't seem narratively like what you do.
Yeah.
It's an okay enough idea. This will probably just be left dangling forever, which is fine. I didn't really buy the character stuff. We're really supposed to see, these two finally get to see each other as real people, but just the flip-flop, back and forth personalities, plus the extra bonus real Tony-ish AI personality somewhere else. It just really muddled the emotional stakes to the point where I just didn't really care. As much as I liked those two together, we liked them so much in that late Krakoan era book by Duggan. Here, it just kind of felt kind of silly.
Yeah, I agree. And I was really disappointed by this like relationship and reunion, because I had really, really liked that relationship, and unexpectedly so, because I thought, like, this is such a bad pairing. But by the end of Duggan's run, I had thought, you know what, they actually kind of have some chemistry and they seem to be good for each other. And then this story comes about and it just feels like totally different characters. Like they don't really have any of that, in this time around. And you're just supposed to care because they were an item at one point in time. But I don't, I guess. A different setting.
It's funny how certain writers can grab onto certain characters at certain times and make them pop out a little more, make them more three-dimensional. And, we didn't like an awful lot of what Duggan was doing sometimes in Krakoa, but just with those two characters, it really worked.
Yeah.
And Cavan Scott just hasn't captured that for me.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of disappointing. And I also agree, like the ending seems like it could be a big deal, but I also share your skepticism that it's going to even be mentioned again. I guess it's just one of them. If this
kind of thing happened in Amazing X-Men, we'd really be talking about it. It'd be, wow, this is what's coming. But here, it's just something to kind of leave dangling.
My headcanon is that the Avengers get like 10 of these emails a day. They just delete them. Right. They're just like, God.
Nigerian prince, the
spam filter,
time travel, whatever. Yeah.
So, I think this is like the end of this. And maybe the problem was it didn't ever really give us Tony and Emma. Like, it just kind of gave us like the characters in their own.
Right.
And then like a split second of like, we're dead. The end.
Two, maybe one or two panels of them both actually being themselves, which was not enough.
Yeah. So I give it a 5. I liked it slightly better than Unbreakable, but I still thought it was a pretty bad, flimsy story.
I'll stick with a 5 as well. That's about all it needs. Okay, moving on to the final of our X books for the week, and this is Sinisters 6, number 3 of 3, written by someone who's usually an artist, David Marquez, art by Rafael Loureiro, colors by Alex Sinclair, letters by Ariana Mayer. Okay, so in this issue, Ruben, everybody dies. The end. Almost everyone.
That's like almost every one of these books, isn't it?
Well, I mean, Unbreakable, everybody lived.
I know, except for Unbreakable, but I feel like that's
a lot of everybody dies at the end.
Yeah,
which you can do in this timeline that's going to go away, so you can see why writers want to do it.
Yeah,
gives you a chance to write a death scene, which feels important.
Yeah.
Now, one of Sinister's 6 died last issue. That was Omega Red. 4 more of Sinister's 6 die this issue. which I can do the math here. That leaves only one still alive. Sinister himself dies in this issue. So yeah, very much the opposite of the ending of Unbreakable. Here, everybody dies. So when we left off last issue, the 5 remaining members of Sinister 6 had infiltrated an abandoned Revelation base/lab, but then had been caught by Dougie and a group of his Seraphim and Choristers. Now, this is the book that says that mutants can also be affected by the X virus. I still think that this was just something made up by Mr. Sinister as a lever to get these mutants to do what he wanted them to do. I think Sinister infected everybody in this crew with something of his own making, and I think this issue kind of supports that hypothesis. Now, it still feels odd to me that Dougie would come here in person, right? They're infiltrating a lab he's not even using anymore. Sure, send some Seraphim, that's fine, but Dougie's here himself. We don't know when this happens, like everything else, except that Albecca is one of the choristers with him. Albecca kind of mostly disappears this issue. I can find her in 2 panels. She has a line of dialogue very early on, and then she's in the background of a group scene. But in between, I don't know if she's always hiding right behind Dougie's skirts or what, but all the other choristers and Seraphim are shown over and over again, but Albecca is very much kind of being hidden. I wonder if there was a change that happened there. So yeah, Havoc says to Dougie, hey, look, we know you're the one responsible for this virus, and your virus is killing us too. Dougie denies everything, which of course he would. Lady Phantom X kicks off this issue's combat by creating an illusion that Chrome, one of the Seraphim, is melting away because of the virus. This leads to the rest of the surviving 6 breaking out of their chains and commencing battle, which does not go well for them. So Doug babbles Lady Phantom X, and then has Chrome murder her to death. Black Cat attacks. She gets killed by Strobe, another of the Seraphim. Domino loses a contact lens, which is awful for her, because these were the magic Sinister contact lenses that filtered out. The virus was making her seeing death everywhere.
Yeah.
Very much like Psylocke did in that miniseries. But these contact lenses filter that away, so when they break, she freaks out. She's killed by a combination of Chrome and Dragoness. And she's also stripped down to bones, just a skeleton.
That reaction I felt like was a little extreme. Like the fact that she was so shooken from this. I mean, she's an assassin. This character, I get that it would be very troubling to see literally everybody as like skeletons and corpses, but like you've killed a lot of people, Domino. Like you shouldn't be that off-put by seeing it. And also you're aware that like this is just your mutation, right? Like that it could be fixed with another contact lens. So I don't get why she like was frozen so much that she just sits there and gets blasted. But I guess she goes like
only
Rambo.
So many pages, and they wanted to kill everybody off.
I know. Yeah, I guess she goes berserker and then tries to shoot them, and they just like blast her. But
there's really totally
I was skeptical.
Sinister 6 are totally outclassed here. They never had a chance.
Yeah.
So the only 2 left alive are Havoc and Venom. Havoc removes that restricting collar that was put on Venom, sends Venom on his way. Or I guess I should say her way, because while Venom is not MJ, we thought maybe it's going to turn out that Venom is MJ. It will turn out to be Polaris inside the symbiote. Yeah, and Havoc knows who's in there. You call that. When do you think Havoc figured this out, or did he know all along? Because exactly what's going on with Havoc and Polaris and Venom and their son is not at all explained in this issue. So what do you think actually happened?
Yeah, it's not explained, and it's also super bizarre. Like if you think back to this whole plot point where Polaris was pregnant and then they met with Sinister. I mean, that was never really confirmed, but that was what was insinuated, right? That they were going to go make a deal with somebody to help them out.
Right. Somehow the kid must have been born inside that shielded room, so he didn't get the virus.
Yeah. And then Sinister sends the strike team out to hunt down Venom, which if he knew who that was at that point in time, like I really don't get why it couldn't just be like, hey, hun, like you need to come back with us. Like why was it an actual combat?
Mm-hmm. And also, Sinister is shocked when Venom is revealed to be Polaris later on.
Yeah.
So Sinister did not know that. Yeah. We do see little bits of Polaris's backstory in 3 small wordless panels. So in issue 2, Havoc told their kid that Polaris died from the X virus. Here in issue 3, the first wordless panel we see shows Polaris looking all bloody, no longer pregnant, and being carried by that robot nurse lady who kind of looked like Nanny.
Yeah.
And followed by a four-eyed monster-looking dude who we have seen in the service of Mr. Sinister. So these both work for Mr. Sinister. They take her off somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And how did they get her? Did Havoc think she was dead? Did he think she died in childbirth, but these came and rescued her? I don't know. And then we get another small panel showing Polaris up and around, out and about, waving a spear around. So she recovered and was on her own for a bit.
Yeah.
And then in the third backstory panel, we see a close-up of the Venom symbiote leaving one hand and moving on to another. The person he leaves has red hair, so presumably this is MJ being dead, R.I.P. MJ, and then the symbiote moving to Polaris.
I like it. So Polaris kills MJ. Got it.
Well, we don't know what the hell happened.
With a spear. Good.
Could be.
I love it. My score is going up.
Are you editing Amazing Spider-Man right now? Because you clearly hate MJ. But yeah, we don't know what Havoc knew. We know Havoc knows that Venom is Polaris now, but exactly when did they have a conversation that was revealed? Because Havoc takes off that restricting collar and sends Venom off to go get their kid. Because he's just going to die nobly here, like Gambit tried to do in Unbreakable.
Yeah.
So
why did he even
what's
put
your
the
hypothesis?
Why did he leave the restricting
this
collar on, and then why did he shock her when he, like, in issue number 2, right? I mean, was this all just like, I got to keep up the ruse so that nobody knows who you are? But if that's the case,
or did he not know yet? Was there a conversation between issues sometime?
Yeah, I mean, it does explain why Polaris Venom was like in the rafters, you know, looking in on that kid, which I thought was kind of weird. But
right,
it's just the timeline doesn't make sense. I feel like it needed to have been spelled out a little bit more clearly for me to think that this was landing well.
There. So Venom leaves out the back door, and I guess Dougie and company just let Venom leave. They don't seem to even notice. Havoc steps out, and he tries one last stupid, futile effort himself. What the hell does he do? He kind of detonates himself. We knew that he had these red crystals growing out of his chest, which he thought was because of the X virus.
Yeah.
And he does something that turns himself fully red crystal and also releases a bunch of energy, but not all that much energy because Strobe and Chrome just easily shield all of Dougie's crew from it. Does absolutely nothing except Havoc is very much dead, fully turned into red crystal, which resembles both Sinister's own red diamond and also reminded me of his brother's, ruby quartz visor.
Mm-hmm.
So end of
Poor
scene
Alex.
1.
He deserves better. I mean, he always just kind of fails at what he's trying to do.
Yeah, I haven't read. What was the? No, I'm thinking of the other brother who was in the War of Kings, right? That wasn't Havoc.
That was Vulcan.
That was Vulcan. Again, me and the Summers brothers. Someday I'll get that straight. Not today. Okay, so now we jump to Mr. Sinister's headquarters. He's listening in to the debacle taking place within his team. You know, he must have microphones and stuff. Doesn't seem too broken up about them failing. And he's super surprised when Venom shows up. Now, Ruben, how quickly did Venom move? And how close is Doug's old lab to Sinister's current headquarters? Because it took Venom like a minute, maybe 2 minutes to go from one place to the other. Because is Sinister playing a recording of them all dying? It seemed like he was listening in live.
Yeah, this is the Laura Kinney thing, right? The Sabretooth issue. Like, how close are these locations? I guess the secret lab was like down the street. It's like right around the corner. You walk out the front door and it's like, it's right there. Then you walk right in.
And Venom also had time to kill a bunch of Sinister's guards. We can see the blood and a hand laying behind Venom. Yeah. So the timeline doesn't really work. I'm going to have to say that Sinister just likes re-listening to the recording of his team dying. And it's not live, it's Memorex, as the saying goes.
I mean, maybe he's trying to learn something about what happened.
Could be.
He's always trying to learn things, right?
I think that's the best explanation. We're not told that. Yeah. But I think if we're trying to no-prize it, that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
So this is when Venom is revealed to be Polaris, and Sinister is completely shocked. So he did not know that. Mm-hmm. Polaris, we get those little pages, those little panels of backstory. Polaris murders Sinister to death and goes to get the kid back. And I think what happens is that the Venom symbiote goes from Polaris to the kid, which means that the kid can travel without being, it's like the boy in the bubble, but he's the boy in the symbiote.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That works. I can buy that. Where do they go? What do they do? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And we do get a little bit of a 2-page epilogue, return to Havoc's stupid crystalline body. We see a tiny fragment of that crystal float off and integrate itself into the genes of a plant. That plant itself then starts turning into red crystal. Mm-hmm. So I guess this was Sinister's long-term plan. We had some voiceover about Sinister thinking Doug was too hasty, not enough thinking long-term. So I guess he thinks that he can turn the Age of Revelation into a new Age of Sinister.
Yeah.
But exactly what that means, does he have another clone somewhere that's going to come back?
Yeah.
Who the hell knows? It just meant to end in Sinister has a plan. We don't know what it is.
And I think the fact that the crystals, which weren't exactly the Sinister diamonds, in the very last scene do form into like the diamond, is supposed to show you that your
more
theory
of that
was
shape.
right.
Yeah.
About the fact that like the mutants being further mutated was like Sinister's influence, not the actual X-Virus.
That's what I'm reading, because if Havoc's mutation is being controlled by Mr. Sinister, then there's no reason to think that the other mutants' mutations aren't also him just, using that as leverage. So I'm going to take that as confirming my theory that the virus does not really affect mutants. These Sinister Six were just fooled by Mr. Sinister. Mm-hmm. That's my theory, and because this is over, no one can tell me I'm wrong. So what to score this book? The plotting was odd. We have this big team. We barely get to know them. They fail at their mission. Nearly everybody dies. So really the only winner here is Polaris and the kid. It's always good, they're not going to kill off a kid usually, right? You don't kill off the dog. You don't kill off the kid. That's just how you write comics, at least Marvel comics.
Unless they're kids of Aquaman, then you kill them.
Unless you're Tom King,
yes.
Right? Then you kill the kid. I would have liked it better if we had gotten to know the kid a little more, because he's barely a character.
Mm-hmm.
He's just generic, cute kid, which sure, I'm glad he survived, but it's not like, Ruben, what is the kid's name? You tell me.
It's not Alex.
Yeah, I don't know either. So I could look it up, I'm sure, but it doesn't matter. We'll never see him again. So that's why
he should go hang out with Apocalypse, and we could have a team of all these like random kids from Age of Revelation.
So that was the book. I think it's definitely better than Mark Russell's X Factor, which is the last place we saw some of these characters. It's shorter than that. It doesn't have as many dumb jokes, so definitely some bonus points there.
Yeah,
I do like that my dumb theory from issue 1 is kind of supported in issue 3, so I got to give it credit for that.
Yeah,
I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I was hovering between 5.5 and a 6, so I think maybe I'll just go with my original gut, which was 5.5, but I think 6 is totally defensible. It's not a bad story. I almost feel like this one maybe needed another issue just to like get the story a little tighter and a little bit more clear. But I wonder if maybe the writing was undone a little bit by like the art. Like the art could have told some of it a little bit more clearly, and it just didn't.
Yeah, even you could expand this. This could be definitely a 5 or 6 issue mini. Get to know the team a little more.
Yeah.
Get a little more early reveal of who Venom was, so that going into the final issue, we'd have some more feels about Polaris and the kid and how are they going to deal with things.
And at what time Alex found out that it was Polaris, that would have helped.
Get some drama in that, because we didn't have any drama from that because we never knew who it was until it was over.
Yeah. And it would have been cool if it was like them trying to keep it a secret from Sinister and the rest of the team, right? And then we have this final scene where like the thing fails and then he's like, okay, you got to go. Like, this sucks. We thought we were going to all get out here alive. But
get some of that Hellions energy where Mr. Sinister has something over one of the team members, right? Holding the kid over Havoc's head. But then Havoc, knowing Polaris is actually here and Sinister doesn't, and deal with that tension and drama. Yeah. We never got to really play with that, which could have been fun.
So I liked what it was trying to do. I just felt like maybe it was overly ambitious for the page.
Yeah, and once again, this is written by a guy who hasn't written a lot of comics before, David Marquez, who's drawn a bunch of stuff really well, but he's a newer writer, and I think this needed some more space.
Yeah. I will say this. I'm not I'm not turned off on this person, this writer, it's David Marquez. I'd actually check out another Marquez story.
Yeah,
I think
agreed.
There's indications that he's trying to tell cool stories. It just maybe was a little like too compressed.
Yeah, bit off too much to tell in 3 issues, 60 pages.
Yeah.
Okay, so folks, that is the last of the X books we're going to talk about today. None of them all that great. That Sinister 6 was the best of them, but nothing too great. Next week we should have some more relevant things, but we're not going to leave you with just that down note. So Ruben and I, we are going to talk about New Avengers and Nova Centurion. If you only care about X things, we understand. See you next week. Have a good time. But if you want to hang around and hear about some maybe a little bit better books, let's get started. This is the New Avengers #7, written by Sam Humphries, art by Ton Lima, colors by Rain Berido, and letters by Joe Caramagna. So yeah, Laura's in this book. She's a mutant. Namor's in this book. He's kind of a mutant.
Yeah.
Good enough excuse.
Totally an X-Men story. Yeah.
And this is a very fun book.
Yeah, it's really fun, and I continue to enjoy it. Not every issue is like a home run issue. This one I think is a little better than issue 6, and I'll kind of talk about both of them because I think I talked about 6 on one of the prior casts, but at very high level to the point where like some of the details are worth kind of going into and explaining this one. But I just think it's fun and funny, and the only sort of thing I can say bad about it is it's one of those stories where like really big world events are happening, and then no other teams or other books ever mention them, and you're kind of like, is this really happening, or is this a side continuity,
right,
kind of thing? But I don't care. The team dynamics are really fun, even if they're not, the personalities aren't exactly the same as in those characters like solo books. I don't care because I'm not reading those solo books, and it's just a fun kind of wacky. The team doesn't exactly like each other, and you got that on the villain side too, which is kind of a nice like twist, and they both think they're smarter than they are. A lot of parallels going on between the two teams.
It's very gritty, kind of grimy, not super heroic, leaning a little bit in the Peacemaker kind of direction, where, this isn't a book to hand to your kid who just, likes watching X-Men cartoons or something, right?
Yeah.
It's not that kind of feel. And also, Sam Humphries has got some plate spinning, because for a couple issues now, we've been jumping back and forth between 2 days before Osaka and 2 days after Osaka, which is at some point, apparently the bad guys are just going to turn Osaka, Japan into a crater.
Yes.
And we don't know the details of that, but we see before, we see after, back and forth. And sometime we're going to have to see what happens. But right now, everything's still kind of up in the air there, which I think is really working for me.
Yeah. And one of the cool things for me is you get a lot of these sort of team books where you have a band of misfit heroes like coming together and then becoming like at the end they find out how to work together and be more effective, and rah now we're this awesome team. We've kind of got a reverse of that in this one, where we've got like the villains. They start out as like they're all there together, but they're not a team, and they're kind of ineffective, and they start getting killed off left and right. Right, that was the first few issues of the series, but then they start working together and they find like a common theme, and they're getting more formidable like as the series.
They don't want to work together.
Yeah,
but it turns out
it's
more of a Suicide Squad than we thought.
Yeah.
Because these are what are some kind of clones they call them? Not mutagenic clones, neurogenic. The Killuminati, which again should have been the Illuminati. Sam Humphries, call me. We can change in trade. We can fix that in trade, Sam. We can do it.
Just change the name.
Right. But they're neurogenic clones. They're just evil, nasty, prurient versions of all your favorite Avengers type characters.
Yeah.
And they just want to go and do nasty things on their own. Like Luke Charles, who's the bad Black Panther, just wants to pretend to be the real Black Panther, bring ladies back to his apartment, make out with them, and kill them.
Yeah, and then put their skulls on his wall.
The Guru Strange, the bad Doctor Strange, just wants to have a big old hippie orgy drug party.
Yes.
Bad Iron Man wants to be like a crypto finance dude bro.
Yeah.
What was Professor X's deal? I don't remember.
He was like a psychic vampire, and he went to somewhere in Japan and like was killing people because he drains their brain power.
So they just want to go and do their nasty things on their own. But they were created by somebody we only know as the originator. And the originator created them for some purpose to, quote, counteract one specific worst-case scenario.
Yeah, which
and
is
that
not spelled
scenario
out.
has occurred. Not at all spelled out.
Yeah.
And we don't know who the originator is. We get a shadow boss, which is like an AI go-between.
Yeah.
And the shadow boss reveals that the originator has ways of remote biological decoherence, basically turn their body parts into goo. So they have to do what they're supposed to do, or they don't get to go have fun. They just get killed.
Yep. Yeah. So I'll go into the resequenced chronological order of this, and this is kind of a combination of 6 and 7. But 5 days before a big crater shows up in Osaka, destroying everything. In Namiya, Iron Apex goes and confronts the Jackal. I guess this might be the real Jackal, and tells that Jackal that
you never know if it's the real Jackal. He's a clone guy. Who knows?
Yeah. That, hey, I'm Iron Apex. I was made by one of your clones in Eastern Asia. I don't like being controlled. Tell me who your boss is. And that's when the shadow boss AI is activated, and he runs his mouth and says basically I'm not gonna I'm gonna do my own thing. I don't take orders. And then the shadow boss is kind of says, well, you're created for one purpose. Your whole team was created for one purpose, to as you said, stop worst case scenario. And if you don't do what we say, we're gonna turn you into goo.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to go find the other members of the Killuminati and tell them that they have to listen to our directive. So then he goes and tells Guru Strange that, and then he goes and meets up with Luke Charles, the Black Panther Killuminati one. And so I guess they agree then that they're going to try to ambush the new Avengers for some unknown purpose. And so
you talked about after Osaka now?
So this is all before Osaka, right? He meets. So Iron Apex goes and talks to Luke Charles and Guru Strange before Osaka.
Okay.
And
this
then Osaka
in number 6 then?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Osaka occurs, which we also see in number 6. And then, we jump to after Osaka, in which case the new Avengers agree, this was the Killuminati. They're, going out of control. If they do this in Osaka, they're going to do this elsewhere. So we got to hit them back, right? So we're going to go attack them. And so they go to, where did they go? Norway, to Shambhala 2 to attack Guru Strange.
Okay.
And the beginning of that attack is all in issue 6. But
I think that attack is after Osaka as well.
It is, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think Osaka was a trigger just to get the new Avengers to come after them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there might be some other purpose. Yeah, unknown. But regardless, by this point, they had a conversation, all the Killuminati that was left had a conversation hey, we're going to get attacked by the new Avengers, and we need to.
Right. Now, there was one more thing pre-Osaka I think we should talk about, which was the whole Bucky and Natasha thing.
Yeah.
Because, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is what I mentioned last time. I mean, we get the ubiquitous, every issue has them having sex, basically. And the Killuminati...
Bucky doesn't quite get there this issue, but oh well.
Yeah, I guess you're right, yeah. But in any event, they're in Palm Springs, California, just Bucky and Natasha, and she's off wherever, at the pool or something, and he gets a text message from Iron Apex showing him the video of Natasha handing the DNA samples of the Illuminati to the Jackal, which is what triggered all of this initially. So Bucky's what the hell? I'm super suspicious of
Who do
Natasha.
I trust? Yeah.
Yeah. And then she shows up and they get freaky, and she's you're not acting like yourself. And he's, saying oh, I've just got a lot on my mind, basically. And then she goes to sleep allegedly, but she's kind of awake, and he takes a hair sample of her, because I guess he's I need to find out, is she a clone or not? So he clips her hair, but she's kind of awake and knows that's happening. So she knows
she's
that he
a super
doesn't.
He's not going to get away with this. Yeah.
Yeah. So she knows he doesn't trust. He's doing weird things, right? Obviously. So then he takes the hair sample to New York and
to Reed Richards. Hey, buddy, can you test this for Terrigen? Because all these neurogenic clones, they have every magical techno thing in the Marvel universe, including Terrigen, as part of their recipe. So if it's one of these neurogenic clones, it'll come up positive for Terrigen.
Yes. And he had met up with Laura Kinney, and she didn't, at this point, she doesn't really know why they're meeting with Mr. Fantastic. But then after they leave, and Mr. Fantastic's hey, why are you asking me to test this Natasha hair sample? And
Bucky's
like, I can't really tell you, right? Like, it's just do it for me. And
he invokes
agrees.
Namor's name, and I think he's just given Reed a line at that point. I don't think Namor's involved in this.
Yeah, no,
exactly. Laura's along, and it's kind of a neat dynamic because she's kind of surprised that she's being let in on this secret.
Yes,
but she's kind of along for the ride. He needs somebody to rely on.
Yeah. So once they leave, he fills Laura in on the whole fact that he saw this video of Jackal and Black Widow, and then so Laura's like, our boss is the one that actually started this thing that we're like now fighting. Like, she's kind of like suspicious. But I really like this whole scene, like the fact that they actually have this conversation. I was like, it's kind of nice to see characters not, you know, compartmentalizing these like super secret secrets. And we had seen, you know, from the, you know, Laura Kinney solo series that, you know, Bucky and her had kind of gone on a road trip and become buddies, right? So it kind of makes sense that he would entrust her with something like this. So they're now conspiring, I guess, a little bit against Black Widow. And then we get to Bucky, I guess, goes back to California where Natasha is, and they're kind of doing this like weird flirtatious, it's like training exercise.
A fun scene, a fun energy, because neither of them trust the other.
Yeah.
Neither wants to let on that they don't trust the other.
Yeah.
But they do a target practice thing where instead of shooting at actual targets, where they tell us later on, oh, we had plenty of targets in the truck. We could have used regular targets.
Yeah. Why didn't we do that?
Right.
But we're so good at shooting. Like, I trust you so much. Like, how about you just shoot an outline around me?
You pose in front of this rock, and I will use this machine gun to shoot an outline all the way around you.
Yeah.
Which it's like the trick of you hold this balloon in your teeth, and I'll throw a knife, but with a machine gun.
Yeah. So then
they swap, and then Bucky shoots, and Natasha poses, but she poses in such a way that their combined machine gun bullet outlines show her strangling him to death.
Yeah, either hugging him or strangling him to death. Yeah,
it's strangling. I've seen hugs, I've seen strangles. Not to get into the details, Ruben, don't ask. But that's a strangle, which is hilarious. Very funny scene. Really gets to that tension between them.
Yeah, and even the dialogue there is great. Like, when she's shooting the outline, she's like, oh, where did you go? And he's like, oh, I went to New Mexico. And then she's like, well, why did I find your tracker in New York? And then he's like, oh my God, you were tracking me, right? Like, very distrusting of you. And then he makes up a lie and says like, oh, I had to help Laura Kinney with like a personal matter. And I can't go into the details.
So then they go later on, they're going to have a romantic evening together. We think this is going to be the sex scene this is the very end of the issue. We're still going back and forth in time, but as the issue goes, this is the end. They're about
this is all before Osaka, which is really important and interesting. So she's kind of, I guess, she's away for a second, and Bucky gets a text from Mr. Fantastic saying it's the real Natasha. There's no Terrigen.
Yeah. Well,
sample.
He says there's no Terrigen, which all we know for sure is that she's not a neurogenic clone.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? She's not this kind of clone. We don't know what the hell else she might be, but she's definitely not that kind of clone. So Bucky's super relieved and thinks, oh, I can finally get this off my chest. Tell Natasha,
it's so funny. I didn't trust you. Yeah.
But I had to because, we got all these clone things going on, but here's what it is. And Natasha is, of course, also just as relieved and understanding, right?
Yeah. And she pulls out a gun and shoots him.
Shoots him in the chest.
She's like, sorry, I am who I am, or something like that. And
which is very vague as far as readers. We don't know what she means by that.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, hey, in all those after Osaka scenes, I don't remember seeing Bucky.
Oh, interesting.
He's not at least there. In this. I didn't check last issue, but in this issue, he is not in any of the post Osaka scenes.
Oh no, he was. I looked in number 6.
Number 6. Okay.
Yeah, so he was there, but yeah. So I'm just kind of like, what the hell's happening, right? Because we get to a point. So he was shot, and then Osaka happens, and then they go on the strike mission. So I don't know if Bucky has been replaced. Like, if she's like a pod person, or like, who knows, right? Like, whatever's going on with her now is that also going on with him? Regardless, it is a big mystery. Like, both of the leaders of the team are compromised at this point. So
I guess looking back at issue 6, we do see Bucky after Osaka.
Yeah, but it's very strange, right? Because we didn't know about the shooting until this issue, like the end of issue 7. So I really do want to know, like, what's going on? Like, why would Bucky get shot and then still go on a mission with this team?
Right.
So I won't go into all the details of the fight, but basically at the end of issue 6, the big cliffhanger was that two new members of the Kill Illuminati show up. A guy who's like a Captain Britain clone called Lord Britain, and a Medusa clone who's called Rapunzel. And so they sort of...
Yeah, I want to stop there a second because I did think it was a little bit of a cop-out to have the bad Captain Britain be swapped to being the guy. It almost felt like Sam Humphries was a little bit scared there to actually piss off the Betsy Britain stans.
I see.
Like, come on, man. You're making all the others into bad versions of the current version of the character.
Interesting.
Don't do that, man. That was cheap. It did make me wonder.
I'm not sure,
though.
Who
we haven't seen a bad version of, who we really should get a bad version of?
Who?
Kamala Khan. Wouldn't that be great? Killuminati Kamala Khan?
Yeah.
I gotta see that, Sam Humphries. Give it to me. I need it.
Maybe. I need to know the rules of the Illuminati, because like if it's only people who are actually on the Illuminati, like that's a requirement to get a clone, then I don't think Kamala Khan's on the Illuminati yet. And I hear what you're saying about Captain Britain, but I would just say, like, is Betsy Braddock the one that was on the Illuminati, or was it the
I guess I don't know my Illuminati
Braddock
history. I'd have to look at that.
Yeah. So anyways, I know my favorite Illuminati member that's not been cloned yet is Emma Frost, because they made her a member like very recently.
Okay,
so,
I'd be willing to see one of those too.
Yeah,
but yeah, so they have this fight at Guru Strange's orgy mansion.
Yes,
and the cool thing is they both have the same plan.
Yes, which is
They're
hilarious.
Both planning
to me.
on not actually fighting and killing the other team. They want to plant a tracker on somebody on the other team.
Yeah, to get back to their base and get
so
more information.
They both have that happen. The Black Panther guy plants a tracker on Laura, but she knows it happened. Yes. And Black Widow plants a tracker on Guru Strange,
but they know it happened as well.
Yes. So then everybody retreats. Everybody thinks they've won.
Yep.
Everybody knows that the other team did the same thing, but nobody knows that the other team knows that they did the same thing.
Yes.
Which is
a
complicated,
great twist.
but makes perfect sense. I love it. And the way it's presented in parallel panels really makes a great use of the medium of comics, which always floats my boat. I love it when we get the comics used like that.
Yeah. So now they're going to both take these like secret trackers off and set up traps for each team, right? Which is awesome. I love it.
So much fun. This is, I know Jim's not reading this, but Jim, I really think you'd enjoy this book. I think based on what you've liked in Peacemaker, some other things, I think you'd get a kick out of this if you didn't come into it thinking, well, I got to be the cranky guy who doesn't like it. I think be open to this. I think a lot of people would enjoy this. If you haven't been reading New Avengers, the early issues have to be on the Unlimited app by now.
Yeah, it's definitely worth reading on Unlimited. I feel like I get my money's worth with this story, and even the use of like the jumping around in time. It makes sense. It's done specifically to like reveal the onion, right, in a way that it's like, okay, if it was just done sequentially as we talked about it on the review, it'd be less cool. It's a lot of fun.
Sam Humphries is messing with us, but in a fun kind of way that we see him winking at us and saying, yeah, I'm not going to tell you yet. Like even when we pull back the camera, when bad Tony Stark tells bad Black Panther who the originator is.
Yeah, and they do like
we
squiggly
very
lines,
specifically
and then
don't get told.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I'd be annoyed at, but the way this is being played, I can see that is the point of this story.
Right.
And I appreciate the way Sam Humphries keeps it going. Now, the
they get
reveal
Luke Charles
better
saying
work,
like,
right? If the reveal turns out to be horseshit, I take it all back. But as of right now, I'm enjoying the game Sam Humphries is playing.
Yeah, and Luke Charles is like, oh shit, basically, right? Like, that's not good, whoever this person is.
Yeah.
So I really want to know, like, what is this contingency that happened that, this evil person put this plan into motion?
The core of the story is being hidden from us. There's got to be a reveal. And I think it's going to be good. I'm trusting Sam Humphries right now, but it really better be good. Okay, so what do we give New Avengers number 7?
I'm going to give it an 8. I had a lot of fun reading it, and it's just a good story for me. The banter and the jokes, they all hit, and I'm looking forward to this next issue.
Similar, I'm at an 8.5. I just like the way he's using comics to tell the story. I think this is a story that wouldn't work as well in TV or movies or prose. So I really get a kick out of comics as comics, and Sam Humphries is doing well here.
Well, I don't want to be the negative Nancy, so I'm going to go up to an 8.5 because I love it too. It's good.
Sounds good. Okay, so we have one more non-X book to talk about today, and that is Nova Centurion #2, Deep Space Drifter Part 2, written by Jed McKay, art by Alvaro Lopez and Matteo Delafonte, colors by Mattia Iacono, and letters by Corey Pettit. So, Ruben, tell us all about the Nova and this post-annihilation story.
I thought you were telling us about this one.
No, I was supposed to tell you about New Avengers.
Oh, no. I took the wrong notes. Okay, well, this is going to be real rough, guys, but
we'll do a quick version of this because we don't need to go into super details. The setup is that Nova needs a bunch of money to power his magic helmet.
Yeah.
He's hired Pip the Troll as his agent. Their first client is this criminal syndicate with the confusing name, the Kree-Skrull War, or
I don't
KSW.
like the name. That's
Not
sort of
DSW,
the worst part about this.
Right, DSW is where you go to get cheap shoes. KSW is this cosmic crime syndicate.
Yeah.
And I guess they've been around. I don't know them, but maybe you know them.
I hope so, because I think the name is just stupid. But if this is just some organization that exists in the Marvel Universe, then fine.
And it is Kree and Skrull working together, but against their home planets and systems, which is an okay concept.
It's one of the parts I like the best of this, because this is like post Imperial, right? Where like the Kree and Skrull initially sort of reverted back to being on their own. Mm-hmm. And then the Inhumans revealed their master plan, and I guess they've gone to Hala and sort of taken back over.
Yeah, because there's a Kree accuser here who hates Hala because she says, the Inhumans are gene trash, and humans are there. That's why she's part of this crew, which is kind of fun. And also, her name is Urket, I think, and she's like 4.5 feet tall, which I think of Kree accusers as being these giant 7-foot beasts, and she's just, it's very funny. Yeah. And they never call attention to it. They never lampshade it, but she's like a head and a half shorter than Richard Rider.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. Yeah. But so the Kree-Skrull War have hired Nova, who really needs money, because they've had their Mysterium stolen.
Yes.
They have one of the thieves in custody, who is an old friend of Rich, who's named Cammy Benally?
Yeah, Benally, yeah. And so she's from the Annihilation storyline, right. And the basic storyline of her is that she was like a teenager on Earth who was, I think she had like either a dead dad or a deadbeat dad, and kind of an alcoholic mother, so life was not so great. And this penal colony ship that's carrying Drax the Destroyer and like a bunch of space criminals gets like hijacked and crashes on Earth, and then Drax kind of escapes and joins up with, or she helps him like regain his memory, and then he like captures the other space criminals and kills them, and then he takes her into space to like go after Thanos, because that's Drax's thing, right? And
that is Drax's thing for sure.
Yeah, this is all during like the Annihilation War, when Annihilus had like left the Dark Dimension and was like invading the planets, and so during one of these like space wars, she kind of just gets abandoned and is like left there, and I don't really know what happened to her. So I had thought she was kind of like, that was the last of her story. But I guess, according to the Wikipedia, like at some point somebody had picked her back up, and she got, she joined like the New Warriors briefly, and then had been like captured by, Arcade, and was put into like this weird Avenger, what basically sounded like...
weird to go from Drax and Thanos stories to friggin' Arcade.
Yeah, it's like an Avengers. It's basically like all right, she didn't join the New Warriors, she joined Young Avengers, and all the Young Avengers had been captured by Arcade. I don't know why he was going after Avengers, but apparently he was. And then he had done a Squid Games kind of situation where he was trying to have the different factions like go through his murder world and like survive somehow. And so I guess she survived that ordeal, and that's sort of like the last we've seen her. So since then, I guess she's become a kind of a space thief, space pirate,
I guess. Yeah. Now her story is, because she's in custody, but Richard says, no, you got to give her to me. That's part of the deal for me to get your Mysterium back.
Yeah.
Because he thinks that the actual thief was a guy named Ravenous, also from Annihilation.
Yes.
And Cammy and Ravenous weren't working together, at least according to her. She says she was independently trying to steal this Mysterium. She admits she was trying to steal it, But she says that when she got there, Ravenous was already taking it.
Yeah, exactly. He had broken into the vault that she was robbing, and I guess she was knocked out or something, and then picked up by the Skull War. Yeah, and he got away. And the big deal with Ravenous and the why Richard hates Ravenous is when the Annihilation Wave escaped the Dark Dimension. Ravenous was one of the generals of that war, and he destroyed what's the planet's name? Is it Zala, or it's anyways, whatever the home planet was of
all the Novas. Yeah. He killed a bunch of people that Richard Rider is very annoyed about.
Yeah. So back in the day, the Nova used to be like the Green Lantern Corps, right? There was a bunch of them, and they all got killed by the Annihilation Wave, except their hive mind, which had all their knowledge and power, got added to Richard Rider. And then when he was super powered up, he helped fight Annihilus and kill Annihilus. Then he went on an effort to kill Ravenous, who was sort of stranded because his most of the Annihilation Wave was defeated, but then he became kind of like a pirate in the space sector, and they never actually killed him. He always got away.
So now Richard thinks this is my chance to finally take revenge on
Xandar. That's the planet's name.
Right. Yeah. Finally take revenge on Ravenous. I have an excuse and we get paid to do it. And he shaves before the battle. He shaves it so he had been looking kind of like a younger version of Scott Free and Tom King's Mr. Miracle.
Yeah.
But now he's clean shaven. What are we supposed to take from that? They really made a big deal about that. I didn't quite know why.
Well, he was just saying, I want Ravenous to make sure that he recognizes me when I kill him.
So that's what he looked like in Annihilation.
At the time in Annihilation War, I was not the bearded guy wearing a Nova suit. I was a clean-shaven, old-school Rich Rider.
Fair enough. So they find Ravenous stealing energy from a KSW recycling planet, and now we get the fight scene, right? So Nova kind of zooms in, very emotional, very much wanting revenge. He kind of gets batted away by Ravenous. Irket, the little teeny tiny accuser, jumps in, starts hammering. Albort, who is another of Richard's compatriots here, he's a combat accountant.
Yes.
So he's there. And
which he has a kind of cool, I kind of like his little gimmick. Basically, he's got a trench coat, and I guess it's got a secret portal to his armory inside of it, so he can reach in and just pull guns out of his coat.
I looked him up. His first appearance was in Marvel Comics Prevents number 22. I may have mentioned this last time we talked about Nova. I can't remember. And it was in an anthology book. So he's in one story in an anthology in 1989. And then his second appearance was Nova Centurion number 1 last month. So that's going to be my recommended reading is reading his origin story, because I'm just kind of curious why McKay would dig up this 35-year-old character. But so there's a fight there, and at the end, there's a lot of talk about how Ravenous is no longer connected to the negative zone version of the Nova Force.
Yeah, so originally he was basically the opposite version of Silver Surfer, the power cosmic.
Right.
So that was his power, and so he was basically when he came after he did the initial kill Xandar thing, then his second objective was to try to defeat all of the Silver Surfer, all the Heralds of Galactus. Basically, he was going around and killing individual
he was
ones.
The anti-Herald.
Yeah, he was the anti-Herald. Yeah,
Fair
and
enough.
so and he had a little squad that was with him, and one-on-one they were able to pick off the Heralds. So then all the Heralds had to get together and work together and kind of defeat him and his crew. But yeah, now he doesn't have that power, and Richard doesn't realize this, and it turns out that his current power is energy vampirism, and so he
so now he's trying to get power from various places, including this recycling planet. And at the end of this issue, he grabs Nova and starts sucking out the energy from him.
Yeah,
and that's our cliffhanger.
Yeah, which ends up being even a bigger cliffhanger than just heroes in trouble, because the Xandar hive mind is in the Nova suit, and if it doesn't have enough power, then the whole galactic civilization and knowledge of Xandar is erased. So you really don't want to lose the power of the Nova suit.
That would be
at
bad.
This point.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I thought this was a pretty fun issue. You know way more about that backstory than I do, so you probably got more out of it. The art is kind of cool. It's on the realistic-y, detailed side, which I enjoy. It doesn't look like any of the other books we're reading, so I kind of appreciate that. Yeah, for me, it's like a 7.5 out of 10, where I'm enjoying it,
Yeah.
but it's not really, I can tell it's not super for me because I don't have the background.
Yeah, it's 100% like
This is a
if you
Ruben
read
book.
all the stuff, you're like, oh my god, this is so cool. And I just happened to have, I don't remember what it was. I think I was playing a random video game and they had a Annihilation armor for Star-Lord. And I was like, oh, that's interesting looking. And so I was like, well, I've never actually read this story. So I went back and read it. And then I read all the tie-ins. And so I have randomly read a whole bunch of these like side stories with these characters. And it is like hitting a lot for me. I really don't know why we're digging back to like Annihilation though. And you get like people like Jim saying like that story sucked. But yeah, this would just be like a bizarre cosmic thing otherwise. But for me, it's like a combination of Imperial and Annihilation kind of leading to a new story. So I'm kind of enjoying it. So I'll give it maybe like an 8.2.
8.2. It's not as approachable as New Avengers. I think New Avengers, you could start with New Avengers #1. If you just kind of know who these characters are, you'll be fine.
Yep.
Where the Nova one rewards the background knowledge a little more. But both well-made books, both a lot better than End of the X stuff we read this week.
Yes.
Other than Punisher Glob, obviously. Okay, so let's wrap this thing up in a longer show. We have next week, let's hope next week's a little better than this week, X-wise. We have X-Men Book of Revelation #3. Excited about that. See what goes on with Elbecca now that Elbecca has been revealed to be some badass from Morocco. We have Rogue Storm #3. Figure out what the hell is up with Storm and if she's going to ride any more hippopotamuses. Omega Kids #3, where I really hope I can learn what is reality and what isn't, because I still don't know.
Yeah.
We have Radioactive Spider-Man #3, where Aunt What's-Her-Name is going to just murder everybody to death. That'll be fun. And we have The Last Wolverine #3 as well, which, again, I'm still having fun with that book, so we hope we get some good Kid Wendigo action. That's 5 X books next week. There are some other books next week in the galactic sense. We have Planet She-Hulk #2 and Black Panther Intergalactic #1. We'll probably at least mention the Black Panther one since it's the new #1, but She-Hulk, probably not as much. Which of those are you super excited to talk about next week, Ruben?
I think I'm kind of interested in Omega Kids. My money's riding on like at least one of these crossover stories having had value and being interesting, and the story within a story kind of thing there has me intrigued. Like I want to know like what's the reality and what's not.
Yeah, I think that could really go either way for me based on what turns out to be the deal with the whole what's reality. So I hope that works out well. So that is next week.
I kind of expect the Storm one to be like everyone's dead at the end. That's
everyone's dead, and Storm is the most powerful person ever.
Yes,
that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, by recommended reading, like I hinted at, is Marvel Comics Presents #22, which is an anthology comic from 1989. Has a few stories in it. One of them is the first appearance of Albort, the combat accountant, and I got to read that. So I'm going to check that out right after this, I think. And Ruben, what else can our wonderful listeners do while they make out their Christmas list for Santa?
Read more X-Men comics.
Get ready, everyone, and you just might survive. Ruben and Jason are here with their X-Men deep dive. Going through all the X-books is their mission, so get ready for the learned edition. Things are getting weird in here. Ruben hopes another sword book gets announced this year.
Ruben.
It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow.
How dare you!
Except your mind. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow. Except your mind.
Right here on Weird Science.